This evening, I've come with good news. Good news from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5. Now, in that chapter, in that passage, we see how Jesus reached out to a man who was demon possessed, a man who nobody could ever think of relating with. And that's because he was dangerous. He was a dangerous man to associate with. Dangerous to himself, and it was a danger to the entire society. Now, the description that Bible gave concerning that man will shock you. I will quickly read through those verses. Starting from verse 1, it says, "They came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gerasenes, and when Jesus had stepped out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. He lived among the tombs." Now, this man lived among the tombs. That's already telling you how weird this man was. And no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been bound with shackles and chains, but he wrenched the chains apart and he broke the shackles in pieces. No one had the strength to subdue him. You can see that. Night and day among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. You see how he was a danger to himself. Imagine you going to relate with such a person, somebody who cuts himself with stones. So he was a danger to everyone around him. Are you with me? So verse 6 says, when he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and fell down before him, and crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." For he was saying to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." Now, if you know this story very well, you realize that Jesus had to get on a boat to travel to where this man was. And it will also interest you to know that after Jesus was done ministering to this man, the people in that city asked Jesus to leave their city. And so Jesus went away. Are you with me? So that tells you that the only person that Jesus seemed to minister to in that city was that demon possessed man. Jesus traveled all the way to meet this man. Now, remember I said I come bringing good news from Mark chapter 5. Now, if Jesus could reach out to this man who was not good for anybody, who was a danger to everybody, if Jesus could reach out to that man and cleanse him, because he had an unclean spirit, right? So if Jesus could reach out to that man and deliver him, then that's just proof. That's enough proof that he writes no one off. Jesus does not write any man off. Whether you think the man is useful or not. Are you with me? Because, sometimes when you hear the stories of certain persons or when you hear the atrocities some people have committed, you will think that, they should cease to exist. But thankfully, God is not man. Are we together? Man is not the judge. When I say man is not the judge now, I mean man is not the one who calls the shots as to whether God will attend to another person. Imagine if people were to vote concerning this man who was always living by a tomb and all of that. If people were to vote, okay, should this man be rescued? Should this man be delivered or killed? I'm sure most people would rather say, the man is just good for the man to just leave our community completely. Are you with me? But Jesus reached out to that man. That man had lost his mind. He had lost his senses. He had lost his dignity. Name it, he had lost everything honorable about him. He was living in the tomb. Now, if you're listening to me today, your case cannot be worse than the case of this man in Mark chapter 5. No matter how bad you are, if you are listening to me today, your case cannot be any worse than this man that Bible describes in Mark 5. If you are just joining in and you don't know the man I'm talking about, just read Mark 5. You will see it there. Your case cannot be worse than the case of that man. So if Jesus could rescue that man, if Jesus could be interested in that man, that is enough proof for you to realize that Jesus is interested in you. He has not lost interest in you. Are you with me? You are not beyond, you have not gone beyond someone he can redeem or help. Now I'm going to jump to, the remaining part of this story. After Jesus ministered to the man, what happened? Now, if you look at verse 11, Bible says, now a great herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. They begged him, saying, send us to the pigs. Those are the demons saying, okay, send us to the pigs, right? That's not even where I'm going. Where I'm going is verse 15. Because people rushed to where Jesus was. They wanted to come and see this man that was a terror to the entire city. Are you with me? They wanted to come and see because they had been told that, oh, this man is now well. Do you understand? Now, what did they meet this man doing? Verse 15, I'm going to read it now. And they came to Jesus and saw the demon possessed man, the one who had the legion, sitting there. What was he doing? He was clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Now, this man was already sitting with Jesus. He was sitting oh my Lord, he was sitting with Jesus. He was sitting. Now, if that does not, humble you, if that does not, cause you to feel the love of God, I don't know what else will. Now, imagine this man who was a reject. After Jesus delivered him, now he was clothed and in his right mind, and he was sitting where Jesus was. You see, that's how much God longs to relate to us. See, the difference between the man who is still in in the mess of sin, the difference between that man and the one who now sits at the feet of Jesus is simply an encounter. Is that okay? So I'm just trying to say that no matter how bad, no matter how far a man has gone from the Lord, no matter how lost a man is, the moment the man meets Jesus, the man is given a place with God like every other believer, like every other saint. Are you with me? In Colossians 1, verse 12 and 13, Bible says, giving thanks to the Father who hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. Now it says, who hath translated us, who had delivered us from the power of darkness and translated us to the kingdom of his dear son. That is what God does to people. God delivers people from the kingdom of darkness and translates them to the kingdom of his dear son. Now, remember the story of this man in Mark chapter 5. He was demon possessed. He had many demons dwelling in his body, thousands of demons dwelling in his body. When Jesus freed this man from that demon possession, the man was seen next to Jesus. He was seen next, sitting with Jesus, learning from Jesus. Are you with me? What had happened to the demons? The demons had gone. The demons had left him. Now he's at the table with the King of Kings. Are you with me? It doesn't take long to sit with the king. It doesn't take so long. Don't think it will take you years to come into a place of fellowship with God. It is not that difficult. It won't take years, it won't take months, it won't take weeks. Once you say yes to Jesus, you start to sit at his feet from that very moment. You start to identify with the King of Kings from that very moment. Again, listen, this is what God does to us. When we receive Jesus, God delivers us from the power of darkness. That's Colossians 1:13. God delivers us from the power of darkness and he translates us into the kingdom of his Son. So we now belong there. We identify with him. Are you with me? Terrible is life was. Then it means there is hope for everyone listening to me. There is hope. This man was never in his right mind until he met Jesus. Are you with me? So there is hope for you if you are listening. There is hope. There is hope. No one is too lost to be redeemed by God. There is hope for you. Amen. All right, thank you for joining in today. God bless you.